Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Mixed Rhythm. I'm your host, as always, Landon, and I'm super happy to be back here once again with another interview. This week, I interviewed a band that I've played with for a while, and I've seen play quite a bit in my time in the music scene as a musician and as just a fan and a lover of music. Green Eyes Witch Hands. They are kind of from all over Nova Scotia. Their music is surprising, like in terms of a genre. It's a little bit out of the typical wheelhouse for mixed rhythm, but also a lot of it does cross over. It feels like music that, had I discovered it in like first year university or in grade 12 in high school, I would have thought of the men behind the project as gods on earth. I still do, and I still love their music, but I think it's got a certain appeal that it really reminds me of the music I really loved in later high school and early university. So, William and Nicholas, they're brothers, and they both are the creative forces behind Green Eyes Witch Hands, and they joined the show this week to chat about their musical influences in writing and performing as brothers, trying to find a place for their music, their start-to-finish process of making a song, which is similar and different in many ways to my own. They also talk about translating their material to a live setting, and much, 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 much more. Thank you very much for tuning in this week. There will be more episodes of Mixed Rhythm to come, and I really hope you enjoy this one. I'm going to throw it over to a tune from their new record. Their new record is called The Lumberyard. This is my favorite song off the record, and we talk a little bit about it in the interview. The song is called The Pumpkin Eater, and you can have a listen for yourself and then stick around for the interview. A little side note, I started rolling just kind of mid-conversation, so you'll hear it jumps in a little abruptly. We just talk about music, and we're talking about the local music scene and living in Halifax, as the two brothers are for the summer right now. And we talk a little bit about the music scene in PEI, where I first became aware of them being located from. Although we get into it a little more in the interview. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. And without further ado, here's The Pumpkin Eater, and then my chat with Green Eyes Witch Hands.
At the bottom of the stairwell, there's a present for you. I used to be so afraid, I don't wanna play it cool. The light hits the shoulder, that's enough, it's soft edges, I can feel it, and it's so precious. Getting ahead of myself, but I can't catch it. I'm the pumpkin eater, it's really nice to eat you. Inside's of my fist now, I'm spit the seeds out. You're the jack-o'-lantern, there's a light in your mouth. Really wanna be in the middle of it. Can I tell you what I want? 'Cause what's the point of pretending? I'll mess it up. Take myself on with you. Sell my soul. Fall into this rabbit hole. I'm the pumpkin eater. It's really nice to eat you. Inside's of my fist now, I'm spit the seeds out. You're the jack-o'-lantern, there's a light in your mouth. Really wanna be in the middle of it.
Yeah, and there's like cool music, and I mean there is in Charlottetown too, obviously, but it was just like it's new to us because we haven't been surrounded by this music as long, so it's like we kind of wanted to be for a little bit, you know.
Yeah, and you play here a lot. Like, would you say we're rolling, by the way?
Okay,
I just
perfect.
started. Would you say like it's kind of hard to? I mean, I find it hard to like. I feel on the East Coast, bands are often categorized like to where they're from, right? Like Halifax band, PEI bands.
Yeah.
Like, where do you find yourself? Like, I mean, I know you're from Bathurst, right?
Yeah.
Do you consider yourself like we're a New Brunswick band? Because like the way I think of Green Eyes is I think of you as a PEI band because you
Yeah.
gig there so much, and like you both lived there for a few years. You know what I mean? And Drew's from there, and Lucas. Like, yeah. Where do you consider yourselves like based out of? I guess because everyone lives everywhere.
I think like I feel like the band is probably based out of Charlottetown, but I feel like the music is like it takes from a lot of like New Brunswick, like how we perceived New Brunswick in some way, like especially the earlier stuff was like, but because a lot of the earlier stuff was made before we ever even lived in Charlottetown, but I think the band. Yeah, I'd say we're like based out of Charlotte. I don't know.
It kind of just feels like whatever
Yeah,
the vibe
Yeah.
is in the moment. It's like, where are you
Sure.
from? Halifax. Or maybe we'll just say.
yeah. I have no idea.
Right
I
now, I
mean-
feel Halifax, but
Yeah, well, you guys play in Halifax more than like most Halifax bands. Like
Yeah,
this city, I don't mean this in a an unkind or confused way, but for some reason, Halifax loves you. Like, I mean, it's because you're a great band,
No,
but
no,
like I haven't seen in my time in the music industry like the city just take to a band like so hardcore. Like you have people like who like Malcolm, Justin,
Right.
Spencer, like all these people. Malcolm's not a musician, but he's in the scene, like
Yeah.
who see tons of shows and like always talk about Green Eyes. Like,
yeah. Malcolm's
yeah,
the goat,
yeah, he is.
and I mean, yeah, the love is mutual. Maybe that's like part of it, because like I think we really feel kind of like seen and heard here and by the scene. And not to say that we haven't anywhere else. I feel like we did in Charlottetown too. But it's just like, I don't know, maybe that's part of it. Like it's like a mutual thing. Like we feel like very understood when we play a show here. And I think that's why we keep playing here. Like and we're just like kind of like maybe doing too much. Like we play a lot where we
You did
have
3
played a lot.
Halifax shows in July, right?
I think we did.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, I'm always happy when I get to see you guys play, and I think that sentiment is shared. I'm not just like glazing the whole time.
No,
I
yeah,
promise.
yeah.
I'll get it out of the way early. But like, there's something about the music where people who aren't in the scene or like don't go to shows, or whatever it may be, like love Green Eyes. Like one of my best friends from back home that I just went to high school with, like the one who lived where you guys are living now. Actually.
Okay, yeah.
okay.
She's maybe been to 2 local shows, and they were both like my band. And like, you show your friends music. Oh, these guys are from, wherever. And it's like, yeah, oh, that's cool. And then like, they're just like, whatever. But she messaged me last week and was like, you're playing with Green Eyes? Like, holy shit. Like, get videos.
That's
And so
crazy.
there's something about like capturing the casual, for lack of a better term, you guys are really great at. What do you think it is like about your music that has such an appeal? And I mean, that's a hard thing to answer because, you don't want to glaze yourselves or whatever, right? But do it. Like, what do you think it is that's in the music that gives it so much appeal to so many people?
When you say capture the casual, is that
Yeah.
kind of like somebody who's like not in like say like hardcore into like a music scene kind of?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, like
Right.
my friend from back home, she doesn't go to
Right.
shows. She's not a musician. Like, just like a person, Because I find like when you go to shows around here a lot, most of the people you're going to see are like musicians or people who go to shows a lot. Like,
Yeah.
But I feel like capturing like the casual audience of like people who aren't, music nerds and doing music,
Right.
like is a hard thing to do. And I know I've noticed like your music really does that,
I think like maybe because like for a long time it definitely was written from like a pop perspective. Like that's our first and foremost thing. And I don't know if that's like intentional or not. I think it's just like we tried to make other types of things, like even like instrumental or whatever, and it never feels done until it's like catchy. So I know that I'm not saying like I'm not glazing ourselves by saying like our music's catchy or anything. I just think that we almost like it's like the song's doesn't feel done until we have like something that's kind of maybe feels a little universal, like one aspect of it. But it's also cool to hear that because I've always felt like we were like a little too weird or something, like where we were, like,
Sure.
or like I never felt like perfectly placed somewhere. So it's cool to hear that maybe it is sort of like reaching more people that aren't weird like us or something. I don't know.
I think that's it's a great kind of way to look at it, and I agree. That was kind of what I was thinking when I asked the question. Your music has such like a great pop sensibility, where it is so catchy, and like I think something you mentioned was like kind of feeling. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but like feeling like not feeling out of place or something. You know what I mean? Would that be fair?
Yeah, that's fair to say.
I feel like that for some reason, like it kind of permeates Green Eyes in general, but like so your music, like it's hard to place that. Your location, you guys all live all over the place. It's hard to place it, like, but there is something so universal about it. I think that's at the core of the music, which is a hard thing to do. So I guess let's go back to kind of how that process started. Like your brothers, Nick and Will, right?
Yep.
So how did you start like playing music together or making music together for that matter?
Yeah, so we've been playing music for, I think William was 10 when he started. I would have been 8. We'd always like made music together and played together, whether just like shows around town or at school and stuff. But Green Eyes only started, I think, like 2020, and William will know the story better. I'm not
Well, it was just like
good at explaining it.
yeah, it was like right kind of pre-COVID, and Nick had showed me like this Hosier song that was like I think it's like Shriek or
Yeah.
something
Shrike.
like Shrike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're not like we don't know a ton of it's kind of like out of the ordinary for us to listen to that, but he was like showed this song. He's like, this one's sick, bro. And I was like, this is sick, man.
It is.
So then
Wasteland Baby?
Yeah.
Is that the record? Yeah.
it was freaking cool. So I had like this desire to make things that were like maybe like soft or something, because I was making a lot of like heavier electronic stuff on my own. And I didn't really know like if I could do the softer things under the same name. Like I was going by Candlefly, and I still do that, I guess, on my own. But I didn't know if it could be under the same name, whatever. And Nick showed me that song, and I just kind of like had this idea where I was like, oh, like I'm gonna like make a demo that's kind of like that, show it to Nick, hopefully impress him of like, and just like do some. Maybe we can make like some kind of like folk duo thing. So it like really came out of like a place that was like not. It is like I don't like the term, but it's kind of like pseudo folk in a way, you know. Like it's not super genuine in its roots. Like we started from like a random Hosier song, like we're internet brained at the end of the day. So we like, but yeah, I showed him the song the next day, like the demo of it. He really liked it, and then we went and rented a violin and just kind of like made a ton of songs in the style in the next couple months. And this is before we ever like played like a real show. We were on like the gigs that we would have played would be like like school stuff, you know, like not really, and we would be doing covers. Like we didn't have like faith in our own songs to like really perform them or anything. But so yeah, this was all prior to that, and we had the violin rented for like a month, and that was like it was sort of like that felt like the ticket or like the breaking point of like we have this instrument that can sort of like grab that aesthetic that we're looking for immediately, like when we can put it on. And we didn't know how to play it, but we just chopped it up and like auto-tuned it the same as everything else, and we kind of made our first record and a lot of other songs that just never got heard that way. So that's how that started. Yeah.
And so, I mean, over the past few years, like, you've developed Green Eyes into a full lineup. You've played tons of shows. Like, you put out multiple records. Like, what do you think, from a writing standpoint, has changed the most from those first recordings? Maybe the way you're approaching it.
Totally, yeah. Like it's a lot more. Before it was like, I was very precious with like, no, it's me and William. We write it. Now, especially with the most recent stuff, it's become more and more like with band in mind, and you know, all the guys kind of get into it. Like,
yeah, we've like been able to put more trust in the people that are around us. Before, like we weren't. Like, because it was like just us for a long time, we maybe didn't have, like, we weren't great collaborators, or we were very kind of like, we were just holding everything so tight and like trying to be so serious and cool or something. But just through really just meeting enough people that are like kind of get it, and then the people that we play with, like the guys in the band, just sort of like, I feel like we're all kind of like lined up, and they've like, I don't know, they've brought so much to the sound that like we could have never imagined when we made it. We never thought it would ever like get to that point. So yeah, now it feels more dynamic, I guess, the way that we make things. Sometimes it's like live, the live setting is in mind, but maybe it's not necessarily like a reaction that we're looking for. It's more like, how does this song kind of like breathe? How will it breathe alive? And some songs will never be played live still. Like there's songs on the record that we just don't know how to do, and we probably won't, you know?
Yeah. And I think that's an interesting thing too, like figuring out that translation, because I feel like your music, if you just listen to it and had never seen a show, you'd think like it's really hard to translate live, you know? And I think that's a fair assessment. Specifically with the song like Spot, like that changed so much from record to live. Like what is that? I guess, you know, it's with writing with the band in mind now, that kind of makes that maybe a little easier. But what was that process like when you first put the live band together, like trying to translate those songs into a band with limitations, you know?
Yeah, that was like super hard, but like the most fun thing to do, because we kind of like, at first I think we really tried to do them as they are on the record.
yeah.
And at first, like when we first were gonna play live, it was just me, Nick, and Hayden. So drums, electric guitar, or I think you were playing acoustic guitar.
Yeah, I was swapping between.
Yeah, and bass, and that was it. And then we've gone through different things, but at that point we tried to get it really close, and we thought, okay, we're only going to be able to play certain songs, and then we'll need to do like covers or make songs up or something. But then when we kind of like decided like, bro, it doesn't matter, like nobody knows who we are, like we can just play, we can build the song up from the bottom. That became very fun, and then it became sort of like, it felt similar to how we make it on the computer, which is like pretty free form, like we're kind of just chasing our impulse. We're kind of doing that the same with the arrangement. And also like it helps, and this is where a lot of like the people that we've played with and the people that we play with now come into play, where they're great musicians who kind of like understand what will work and what might not work in an arrangement sense. Like we might not know that as well because it's not our like forte, but like someone like Drew, for example, is just an insane like arranger and just sort of like understanding like what makes like what makes music move, and that's like a big part of the live shows, like the movement. Like we
Right.
get like loud and quiet a lot, so but yeah, that still happens to a degree. Like we still switch songs up, but it's now it's a little bit more seamless, I think, than it used to be. It used to be a little bit more like laborious, I guess.
Right. And so I guess what would you say, like, or I guess when would you say the band officially like started playing live, you know?
When was our first?
Was that like 2 years ago now?
Yeah, I think it was 2023. It was like May
Yeah.
2023, the first Green Eyes show. It was at Sportsman's, and it was with 20 Eyes, Sweet Nectar, and Space Bud.
Nice.
And shout out to Ryan Van Winkle because, like, he had no reason to put us on that bill. They had a show ready, and he was just like kind enough to like. I think he like literally asked if we were interested in playing live, and was like, yes, but I have no idea how to ask anybody.
Right.
And he put us on that bill. So, yeah, that was the first show.
And your first Halifax show would have been, what, September of that year at the Oasis? Is that right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I was there.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, yeah.
Your
Okay.
vocal pedal didn't work,
Oh yeah.
but I mean, I didn't, like, you wouldn't have known.
Yeah.
Your voice was still great. Like, so my initial impression of the band, like, in a live context was, okay, they're not doing the tune vocals, and they've added a harp. And they
Right.
do Body Snatchers
Oh man. Yeah.
instrumental.
Yeah.
And I think, so I guess, what do you think has changed from that point, like, in a live context with the band?
I think we've kind of like figured ourselves out a little bit more. I think that some of the early we thought we were really good, and I don't think we were bad or anything. But
I thought you were really good.
Well, thank you. But I feel like looking back, it's almost like feels like awkward teenager phase of certain things that we did. Just because it doesn't really, I feel like it didn't match up with what we thought the records were kind of putting off. And I feel like now we're still quite like ambitious and like experimental to a degree, and like we don't like, I want to try a bunch of different stuff live and this and that, but I think that we have a better idea of like what is almost like appropriate or like what makes sense for us to do, whereas at that time we were really just doing whatever we wanted. Like, even I don't even know if we wanted. Sometimes it was just like, this might work.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know? So we were just trying everything at that point. But now, I don't know. I think that I never leave a gig and feel like we didn't get the idea of the band across.
Right.
Whereas before I felt like, I felt like if you know, like if someone saw the show, it'd be like, I don't really know what this band is.
Right.
You know?
Like, you kind of listen to the recordings and go, oh, that's really different. You know what I mean? I don't think that's the case anymore, I will say,
Right.
as an outsider. Do you remember at that show, there was a drunk guy in the back who kept yelling, play some fucking Skinnerd! You remember that?
Yeah, my
That
friend's
is-
parents were like dealing with them.
Yeah, that was so. He's going, play Leonard Skinnerd, and you guys weren't playing Leonard Skinnerd, and he kept going, and then he started to get like upset, play some fucking
Holy
Skinnerd,
crap.
yelling, and yeah, I heard people like trying to get him to stop.
No, but we have Radiohead.
That was one of the craziest moments I've had at a gig. Specifically, like, it's crazy that of all the bands in Halifax, of all the bands on the bill that night,
Right.
you guys were the ones where he thought they'll play Skinner.
Yeah. Oh, they got the harp up there, bro.
Yeah,
They're gonna rip some Skinner right now.
that
Nah,
was
man.
insane.
I don't even know how to play a single Leonard Skinner song. Like maybe if we knew how, we would. But
It wasn't in the cards that night
No.
at Oasis.
No.
So with this new record, congratulations on the release, by the way.
Thank you.
It's a great record, and I think most of the city is spinning it right now. It feels like
that's cool.
all of my music friends are asking me, "Oh, did you listen to the Green Eyes? Yeah, it's awesome. Whatever, right?"
Nice.
So, what was you guys record all your stuff at home, right? How does that process come? Like from I have a song idea. Let's make this into a song. Walk me through that.
It's different every time a little bit. The constant is that the development of it goes hand in hand with the recording, or like the writing goes hand in hand with the recording. So even if it's like a mostly complete song on a acoustic guitar that maybe I started, we put it into the computer before it's like, this is the song. Because that's kind of like how we like come up with ideas, I think, is like listening to it back with effects and chopping it up and stuff. But then it's also different because sometimes it's like there's songs on here like the song Bandolier is just like Nick fully made it kind of like as a beat, like it was like more of like a hip hop mindset, where it's just he made the whole beat and then brought it, and then I wrote to it and like drank enough beer to like feel confident to like kind of like move around on it or something. But yeah, I guess it's just like the computer is the constant part. There's some that we wrote. I think the Pumpkin Eater's the only. Actually, no, that wasn't even fully done on guitars. But that was like, I think we felt really like a real band.
Yeah.
Because like I had the acoustic part and he had the electric part for that song. I was like, damn, bro, this song is sick. Like
that
we're
was
a
the
band.
quickest one.
Yeah. But
That song is sick, by the way. It's my
Probably
favorite
my
track.
favorite.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely came out really quick just because it's like very genuine, like not trying to do anything crazy. Sometimes we'll get wrapped up in either like the experimentation or ambition of like, oh, let's make like a good song, and we stop trying to make good songs and just we're like, what am I feeling right now, and just kind of like roll with that as hard as we could. And that song, luckily, I think like was one of the, for us, like it was like a successful thing to make. It was like our process realized in the best way that it could. So
That's great. I feel like the best songs kind of just fall out.
Yeah.
Like they just sort of happen, I guess when it comes to like the mixing, is that all you too?
Yeah. The mixing is, the mastering is not. The mixing we kind of do as we go.
Right.
We don't have a very in-depth idea of how to approach it. It's just still kind of impulse based. And then the mastering, it used to be us, but for this record we got a guy named Dylan Wall to master it. And he did the first Feeble Little Horse record.
No way.
And that's how we found out about him. But I think he also did like the Weed records. Okay. And he did some other stuff that like lo-fi rock music that I like grew up listening to. So, and he really understood like where we were coming from, didn't try and like clean it up too much or anything, just kind of like made it hit, which was nice.
Right. So you did your first tour last year, right? Like first like cross Canada tour.
Yeah.
What was that experience like? I've always kind of wondered like how did you stay comfortable and like a solid unit on that tour?
I think it was because we were all so excited because it was us and the other band, 20 Eyes. It was like all of our first tour, I'm pretty sure.
I think so, yeah.
So I think that's like what kept us all like together. And I remember just feeling like so locked in. I don't have a better way to describe it, but it was just like, whoa, like we're doing the thing, like, and
right, yeah.
so it was, and I think it was like at one point, like 2 nights in, I remember thinking like, I was like, oh man, I don't know. Like it is hard sometimes. And that time I felt it being kind of hard. Just, I don't even know why. It's like emotionally or something. But after pushing through that and having everyone around kind of be so stoked that we were doing it, definitely helped. And then in a practical sense, just like drinking water. Yeah.
So important.
Yeah.
That tour felt like it lasted like forever. How long were you actually on the road?
That was a long one.
Yeah, I think it was 10. No.
Long for us. But
Yeah, it was long for us. Like, it was definitely like, I feel like in travel and everything, it was like 2 weeks.
yeah.
I think. And we haven't done something like that in a while. Just, we don't have a reason as, like, our band doesn't have a reason right now to play on a Tuesday, like somewhere where no one will come
Right.
who know where we are, know who we are, you know?
Right.
So, I don't know. I want to do it again really bad, like do it a really long one, but it's got to be, it's got to be worth it. You put
Yeah.
it's a lot of time and money and stuff that goes into it sometimes. So,
Especially playing in Ottawa.
yeah,
Which is where I saw you.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Which was like,
Yeah.
it was crazy. It
Yeah.
felt like for one night I was like, I felt like I'm with you guys. I'm in a place that I don't
Yeah.
live.
Yeah,
At this bar.
that's a cool
But
bar though. Eh?
It was
Yeah.
it was probably one of the coolest bars I've ever been to.
Yeah.
I love it.
They were playing Ovlov and like
Yep.
it was great.
They take really good care of like who plays there, and that they care a lot about music. Like it's
Yeah.
not an afterthought there.
That's their
Yeah.
thing. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Music.
Yeah.
The place we're talking about is Live on Elgin. Is that
Mhm.
right? In Ottawa, Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
The nation's finest.
Yep.
Ripping it up in the nation's capital. So, what kind of music are you listening to right now? I think that's always a question I find interesting, but very rarely do I find the answers interesting. However, with you guys, I feel like I always wonder because I never quite know. Like, I know we have a lot of overlap in terms of like we both really enjoy pop music.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
Post Malone, you and I talked about.
Yeah.
Which is like
Yeah.
you're hard pressed to find a person in a local band in Halifax who enjoys like.
Who
And
will, who will be honest and
Yeah.
say that Post Malone is dope?
Yeah, he is. What
Yeah.
kind of stuff do you think? Like, what kind of stuff are you into right now?
You go first.
Okay. I like, there's like this new group called World Peace DMT that is probably like the most insane and like inspiring thing that I've heard in a little bit. Them, and I have been listening to, just like what I like, Alex G, normal stuff for someone like me, I guess. But yeah, World Peace DMT is probably my favorite thing right now. They're very, I don't know the perfect way to explain it. It's just very radical. And I find that exciting. I hope to kind of like do something like that at some point.
I've been listening to a lot of NERD lately. I've been
Nice.
back into NERD. And then just before that, a lot of Drain Gang. I've been listening to a lot of Blade, a lot of Echo. Been back on that. I think just like quick, it's like hits my brain like immediately. So
Yeah.
feels like the record too.
Yeah, that music kind of like, I feel like it kind of like makes the most sense to me in a way too.
Yeah.
It's like, that's good. It's like
Right.
the second you hear it, it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, that sounds good.
I feel like that's an interesting part of your appeal too, because a lot of bands say like, we're influenced by tons of different genres, right?
Mhm.
But it's like you're a punk band. But but with Green Eyes, it's like I really hear like everything in your music. I hear like Alex G, like you mentioned. I'm
Right.
sure one you've heard a lot, Brockhampton, right?
Absolutely, yeah,
Yeah,
100%. Yeah,
Post Malone, you like.
Yeah.
Like, same deal. It's like,
Yeah.
but also it's like indie rock. There's so much, there. And I wonder, how do you go about, like, how do you approach that in a way that doesn't feel like it's one thing. Does this make sense? Like
think so.
I don't listen to your records and I think like this sounds like hip hop. But I
Right.
can hear the hip hop. I also don't listen to it and think this sounds like indie rock. But I hear it.
Yeah.
It's not a folk record, but there's folk influence. Like, I guess, how do you go about mixing all those things and balancing them out?
I think it's because our impulses are, or maybe I should just say like our influences are almost like mainly non-musical for the most part. Not to say that the music that we listen to is not like huge, because it is, but when it comes to like making something, we're like chasing something of like there's songs on the record that are like inspired by like a blue t-shirt where it's just literally like that is the perfect t-shirt. It's so sick. And I don't know what else to say about it, but it's like I'm gonna make something that makes me feel the same way as that, or I have an image in my head of like an individual like holding a sword above their head, and it's like going about that, and then whatever the genre is, just kind of like it happens by mistake, I think, just because I don't know, it's like that's our musical diet is, and I think most people's are, right? It's just like playlisty, like a bunch of different shit. So when we're trying to like emulate like a feeling or something that we see and something that's not directly musical, then the soundtrack that goes off in my mind at least is a bunch of different sounds. Yeah, so it's not I don't have like a very practical answer. It is very kind of mumbo jumbo-y to me. Yeah.
I mean, music based on a feeling.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I'm more and more not surprised, but like I feel affirmed.
Mm.
All the stuff you guys are saying, I'm like, yeah.
Okay,
It
sweet.
feels nice, So with this record, like, I mean, it's out, and you've been, playing shows and touring it locally and around the Maritimes and stuff. Like, what comes next? Are you working on new music now?
We are trying to the best that we can.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily like have a clear idea of what we're gonna do next. We just kind of, the same way that we made this record, just like make as much as we can. That'll never, it's only like what works will be heard, but we're really trying to just like go down like rabbit holes that we haven't before, and like what would this sound like, what's that like. Then we're working on videos too, like Malcolm's doing one for Kiss, and that is something I'm very, very excited for. It's we saw the second cut the other day, and it looks awesome. Yeah. They're great. And then we have another one that like we're probably gonna film by the end of the summer, and then we'll probably play a little bit less coming after the summer, and kind of just, I want each show to feel very awesome, and I want it to like be really fun to go to, and I want to work on doing that and like us booking stuff again, and kind of having that control. I love jumping on bills and stuff, but I haven't booked like a proper show in so long, and I feel like I've lost control in that regard. So we'll have probably a couple videos. I don't know what music will come out next, and we'll be playing a little bit less, but I think we'll sound better because I think we'll sound better because we're playing a little bit less.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for listening to this week's show. If you want to find Mixed Rhythm on Instagram, you can at Mixed Rhythm. If you want to send us an email, it's miscrhythm, miscrhythm@gmail.com. You can find us on YouTube, youtube.com/themixedrhythm, and on Facebook, facebook.com/themixedrhythm. You can also check out our website, mixedrhythm.wordpress.com. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you again next time.